super healthy.
Okay, the rules are simple. No one is allowed to help you chew or cut the meat. And if you get sick before the finish, the contest is over. Good luck. Let's give him a little encouragement, folks.
Go, Bobby, go. Don't congratulate him yet. He has to eat.
Attaboy, Bobby. You can do it, son.
Shovel it in, honey. Don't be afraid to use all your teeth.
That's it, Bobby. 36 down, only 36 ounces to go, son.
Tame that slab of
Well,
beef.
you ordered it rare, so yeah. When you order something rare, it's gonna be.
You're just making a fool of yourself, Bobby.
It's gonna be a little bloody.
Nobody's impressed.
Woo! Come on, kid. Slice and swallow.
Snake eat machine.
Oh, that's Sarah Michelle Gellar? I didn't know that. Oh, my God. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. That's Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Come on, Mom. Dad, we're leaving.
Yeah, I think that is her.
Thank you. Thank you, Arlen.
Hey, you two, I'm trying to eat.
Switch to Chrome to stay.
A young boy eating 4.5 pounds of beef. The food pyramid and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race. That's what a lot of, I don't know if that's like accurate, but like a lot of, I don't want to say people on like fad diets chat, like keto and stuff like that. They will tell you that. They will tell you that the food pyramid is like terrible, because the thing about the food pyramid chat is that it recommends that you have, what is it, 6 to 11. Now, it's probably changed since I was a kid, chat. Like a lot of things, Pluto's not a planet anymore, but when I was a kid, it was a planet. You know what I mean? So like the food pyramid has probably changed, but at the bottom was like grain and rice. And like, hold on, let me see if I can find like food pyramid. Yeah. See, 2000. No. I want like the 90s one. Let's just see. Son of a gun. Oh my God, they changed it. What is this? Nut seed tofu. Hold on. Wait. That is not this is some new woke food pyramid. I want the 90s one. Yeah, there we go. Hold on. Yeah. This is the food pyramid I grew up on, chat. Wait, let me see if I can find the picture of it. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Bro, this is, and when you look at this shit, it's like, this is so laughable. 11, press 1 if you eat 11 servings of rice every day, chat. 11 servings of bread, cereal, pasta, and rice. Like, I mean, like, this is the Italian food pyramid, but like, this is the food pyramid, chat, that like I grew up on. And it was like, oh yeah, this is how you eat healthy. And it's like, yeah, I think that you probably should have 2 to 3 servings of meat, 2 to 4 servings of fruit, maybe, 3 to 5 of vegetables, but 6 to 11 of rice, cereal, and pasta? That's a lot, Chad. Like, this is where like the entire food pyramid just like collapsed, and why this doesn't work. Like, people, or if they're talking about this specifically, Chad, the one from the 90s, the one I grew up on, like, yeah, this food pyramid actually is like super inaccurate, because the rest of these are fine, probably. Maybe you could even cut this one down to 1 to 2, you know what I mean? But like, this is out. You don't need like a piece of toast for breakfast, and then a piece of toast for like a snack, or 2 pieces of bread for lunch, and then 2 more pieces of bread plus pasta plus rice for dinner. Like that's too much, bro. Like you can gain a lot of weight. If it's cereal, it's cornflakes. I mean, still, but that's like you can't eat this much grains, Chad. That's too much carbs. Replace bread and vegetables, then it's yeah. If these two swapped, Chad, because like okay, you could have cereal for breakfast, a sandwich which has a couple of servings because of each piece of bread, but that's like 4 servings tops. The pyramid is telling you need to have like double that. Like you need to have another sandwich and a bowl of pasta for dinner. Like that's too much. You know what I mean? So like yeah, this old food pyramid didn't really work. And then the fats, oils, and sweets. That actually kind of what's it called? That actually kind of accurate. Here's a history video. Guess who paid the U.S. government more to get that spot on the bottom of the food pyramid? I mean, it probably was, chat. Like this food pyramid, chat, was probably made by like big cereal. You guys know how they put the word like big in front of stuff like big oil, big. What's like another industry that we do that with? Mainly you just big tobacco, like big tobacco, big oil. It probably was, chat, like companies like Kellogg's, General Mills that like gave that probably lobbied for this to become like the official food pyramid of like 1984 or something like that, chat. And it probably didn't change until after I was an adult. So like I grew up with like, oh, my mom's like, hey, have as much freaking Kellogg's, cornflakes, and Captain Crunch as you want, because 6 to 11 servings. Big Dairy got milk, cornflakes guy. One serving. One's I was always taught, chat, at least with meat, that a serving. So okay, you guys tell me if this is wrong or not. What I was always told is that a serving is the size of your like palm. So like take this if you wanted to have like a chicken breast or something, or a pork chop. If it's roughly the size of your palm, that is like considered one serving. That's just what I was told. And I think that mainly goes with like vegetable, like solid foods, chat, not with like milk or something, not with a liquid. But like for a piece of fruit, for meat, vegetables, grains and rice, like if it's about the size of your hand, that is like essentially a serving. I've heard that before. Yeah, I mean, again, that's probably outdated and it's probably not true. Because press 1, chat, if every single thing Cap ever learned is outdated and not true anymore. Real talk, I kind of feel like that. I kind of feel like that's the case. My food pyramid is like not true and outdated. My planet, like my solar system, is not true and outdated. Like I feel like almost everything that I learned, chat, specifically when I was in elementary school, like K through 6, K through 5 for some of you guys in different states. But I feel like everything that I learned, chat, or at least like half of it that I learned is just cursive. Cursive is another example. They don't even teach it in class anymore, chat. I spent an entire year in the 2nd grade learning cursive, and they don't even teach it anymore. Like, I feel like about half of what I learned, chat, is just not applicable anymore. It either doesn't exist, or it's not taught, or it's just just not real anymore. Cursive is power crept cursive, or power crept education. I know cursive. Really? Well, I mean, I can tell you guys now, like, I don't know if the new chat, what are the kids called now? I'm talking about like if you are a kindergartner, chat, if you are 5 years old right now, are you still a Zoomer or are you a different generation? But whatever those kids are, chat, like they 100% don't learn cursive, because my nephews didn't learn. Wait, they're called Alpha? They're called Generation Alpha? That's what they're called? That's a thing? Generation Alpha. I've never heard that until literally right now, chat. There's a Generation Alpha. Okay. Well, Generation Alpha, they don't learn cursive. My nephews didn't learn cursive. Like they don't teach it in school anymore. I was like mad, chat, because cursive was, I don't want to say it was the most difficult thing, chat, I ever learned in school. What would you guys say it was, chat? The most difficult thing I think it's, for me, it was long division. Long division was the most difficult thing I ever learned in school. Like, that shit is it's so complicated. Long division, chat. Sets? Really? Calculus 3? I mean, I guess, like, not everyone needs to take calculus. Is this Richard Nixon, chat? This looks like Richard Nixon. I'm just guessing now. Am I guessing? No, chat. No. I mean, this guy. Is it Nixon? It kind of looks like, yeah, it looks like President Nixon. But it might not be him.
We're on to something big here, and it affects all of you. It's the food pyramid, which turns out is a pyramid scheme.
Oh my God. Give me a Bible thump in the chat if Americans were made fat because of the food pyramid. 4B. We were all eating cereal 11 times a day. Why are we so fat?
Scheme.
Why they immediately have to show like all fat people? Like, look at this, all fat.
The average American now carries 23 extra pounds.
Heart disease and stroke will claim the lives of 460,000 American women.
Prostate cancer is now the most common cancer in American men.
Diabetes, life-threatening diabetes.
By the way, if you guys ever wonder like why Cap's trying to lose weight, like this is it's hard, dude. Carbs are everywhere. That was like the thing, Chad. I watched these videos about it, right? In the 90s, for those of you guys who don't understand, in the 90s, what they were pushing, chat, and like the science was that fat made you fat, right? So like they were like, oh, everything needs to be low fat. Eat, like you can eat as much carbs as you want, but like fat is making you fat. So everything started to be low fat, right? But guess what they did, chat? Guess what they did with all the low fat stuff? They cranked it full of sugar because low fat shit tastes bad, right? Like if you guys ever had like low fat salad dressing, like it tastes really bad. So they started putting tons of sugar and stuff, and that just made people even fatter. But nobody knew that, chat, because we were all stupid. I mean, granted, I didn't eat that, but like that's like what happened in the 90s. It's like they were like, oh, too much fat is like really bad. That's why you're fat. And then it's like, okay, we'll have this low fat shit, and then they just put a bunch of sugar in it, and then people got even fatter. So there you guys go. Yeah, I mean, honestly, maybe it was, chat. Maybe it was one giant fucking scheme by like the sugar companies of America. It would have actually been brilliant, but like that's what happened in the 90s, chat. They started pushing like, oh, just have low fat stuff, and they put tons of salt and tons of sugar, because that can make, if you guys don't know, chat, those are like the two ingredients that make everything taste good: salt and sugar. What's up, Don? How are you doing tonight? I run a lot and I eat healthy. Dude, I exercise a lot, Don. My weight right now is bad, chat, because of my diet. If I were to eat clean for like a month, chat, I guarantee you I'd drop like 20 pounds.
Since 1975, the percentage of...
I don't run like Don, though. Don's like one of those fucking professional runners, one of them like skinny black kids who run like fucking 6 miles a day. Like I'm not on that level. I'm just trying to get to like 1.5 miles of running a day. Once I get to 1.5 miles, chat, 2 miles tops, I'm just like, I'm done. I'm like, okay, this is all I need. What's it called? Do you fast? I do, but my problem is, chat, I have like 2 or 3 days a week where I just like cave. There are like certain periods. One of them, ironically, is every Saturday night, chat. It's right after I stream. I'm really hungry because think about it. I start streaming at 8:30, chat. I end the stream at 2 in the morning. And it's like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. Should I eat something healthy or should I go to McDonald's right quick? And I make bad decisions. Like that's like, they're like these trap periods, chat. Or after I donate plasma, I'm like super exhausted and hungry. And it's like, if I make smart dietary decisions, I'll lose a ton of weight. But it's like, I'll go to McDonald's. You know what I mean? Like that's the problem. He gets depressed when we're... No, it's not depression. It's just, it's convenience. I'm hungry because I haven't eaten. I'm sitting here talking to you guys for like 5.5, 6 hours. I don't, just because I start the stream at 8:30, chat, doesn't mean that's when I start. I told you guys I start getting ready for the stream at like 7:45, chat. I shave my head, which you guys can see. I shave my beard. I get all, groomed up and stuff. So I start before that. But then by the time I'm done streaming, I'm super hungry. And it's like, well, do you want to make a smart healthy decision. Do I just want to have a protein shake, which is probably the healthy thing? Or do I want to go to McDonald's, get some double cheeseburgers and some fries? You know what I mean? Like, there you guys go. Go to Boston Market. There were some coupons for Boston Market, chat. Or not coupons. There's a site that I use where you can buy gift cards for like certain merchants, chat. And some of them are like crazy discounted, right? But you don't pick the amount. It's not like a regular $100 gift card, 25. Like, you'll just have random amounts like $66 or $32. And the Boston Market ones are like 50% off. And then I just thought, I was like, but who the fuck wants to go to Boston Market? Like, what do they even have there other than chicken? So I didn't buy Boston Market. I bought Hooters instead. Do meal prep, David WW. All right, let's watch this.
Americans who have type 2 diabetes has more than tripled.
Clearly, the Western diet is taking a toll. This should serve as a wake-up call. We have a growing problem, and the ones who are growing are us.
Hooters.
The food pyramid is one giant scam. See, back in the 1970s, before the food pyramid was a thing, the USDA needed to create the next food guide to release to the population. So they hired a few experts. But unfortunately, one of those experts they hired was a woman named Louise Light. And Louise Light wasn't bought out by Big Food. She actually cared about nutrition, and she would soon pose a problem. Louise Light went right to work, proposing a new food guide that was actually pretty decent. It included 5 to 9 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables each day. It encouraged protein foods like meat and eggs. Instead of shaming natural fats, it encouraged things like 4 daily tablespoons of cold-pressed fats like olive oil, while really
press 1 if they like secretly killed this chick, Malka S. Because what she's talking about is like super healthy, you know, oil, like those natural, like what she, like, hold on. How the hell did we get the shitty food pyramid of the 90s if she was like completely like opposed to that? Like, they must have like actually dumped this chick's body in the desert or something. Like, what happened then? Unless they just overruled her.
Limiting sugar and refined grains like processed bread, crackers, and cutting out candy and junk food altogether. So, as you can see, all pretty reasonable stuff.
Yeah, this is
Louise Light and her team proudly submitted the new guidelines to the USDA, but they rejected it. And instead, they released a modified version that was so perverted, it was almost unrecognizable from the original. Instead of just 2 to 3 servings of grains a day, now it told Americans to eat 6 to 11.
Bro, so the original, so this chick said 2 to 3 servings a day. And they said, no, bitch, triple it. Really? That's still so insane, chat. That this is something they actually recommended. Like, I grew up thinking like, yep, this is what you're supposed to eat. 5 bowls of Cheerios every single day. Yep, 5 bowls of Captain Crunch, literally every day. That's
servings.
She
That's
tried
up to 13
us.
slices of bread a day. Or
yeah, there you go, chat. Press 1 if eat an entire loaf of bread every single day. That's really what this shit actually, it was official. That's really what it was. Even if you get the really big loaves, chat, the food pyramid literally said eat a loaf of bread every 2 days. For one person, by the way. So if you have a family of 4, you need like down 10 loaves of bread a week or something. Bread greater than water. Well, water is the one thing that's not on the food pyramid, but still. Bakery, like, bro, this had to be made by like Quaker or something, chat, or like General Mills cereal.
Almost an entire box of sugary cereal.
Yeah.
And yes, these recommended grains included incredibly healthy American sliced bread, crackers, and of course, we can't forget about the Breakfast of Champions cereal.
Food pyramid that we were taught in school about said the recommended amount for bread, cereals, and grains was 6 to 11 servings a day. 11 bowls of cereal a day. 11 slices of bread a day.
While meat, fruit, and vegetables, those disgusting foods now only made up a tiny portion of the recommended diet.
If you guys are fat,
the public just blindly followed along. This food pyramid was officially introduced to the masses in 1980. It was supposed to be healthier, and yet obesity kept skyrocketing.
Look what's happened since 1980, right?
The baby's eating pizza. Yo, that's crazy. So as soon as they introduced the new food pyramid, everyone got fatter. That's fucking wild. As soon as they introduced it in 1980, obesity skyrocketed. And everyone's like, why are we all so fat? We're eating 11 bowls of cereal every day like you told us to.
It kept skyrocketing.
Look at this.
Look what's happening.
It's like, it's going up, but 1980, boom, it just goes through the roof. And we became fat as hell.
Happened since
well, at least I have an
1980.
excuse,
Rise in U.S. overweight obesity.
Okay, yeah. If you look at this chart, they introduced the food pyramid right here, and look at this. To the moon. The fat moon. Y'all, dude, it's not that we were stupid, Selza. When the government tells you, when the powers that be tell you, like, this is healthy, I'm telling you, I really genuinely believe that. Because it wasn't just like some shit they showed in commercial. It was taught in school. Like, that's what they told you. Like, yeah, you should be eating, and it doesn't even have to be like sugary stuff. Don't eat 11 Twinkies a day, but like, yeah, you really should be eating rice 8 times a day. Like, really? I guess so. Obesity stonks. I like food. AKW, I'm not believing the internet, or I'm not believing the government. Damn, I was vaxxed. Boomers or sheeps. I mean, yeah, that's what they told us, Chad. Like, you know what? Don't eat vegetables. You can eat like a couple pieces of vegetables, but really, you need to be eating that fucking entire loaf of bread every day. Just eat that shit every single day.
Coincides with the beginning of the dietary guidelines.
In following the food pyramid, a 15-year-old girl can eat a daily menu consisting of a bowl of Lucky Charms with low-fat milk and a glass of orange juice from concentrate for breakfast, cheese-flavored crackers for a morning snack, a cheeseburger on a whole grain bun with French fries and a Coke for lunch, chocolate pudding and grapes for an afternoon snack, and chicken nuggets with a biscuit and canned green beans for dinner, with low-fat ice cream for dessert.
Why? Because the food pyramid was never about your health. No. According to Louise Light, the food pyramid was sold to the highest bidder.
What?
And that highest bidder was the grain industry.
Our federal dietary guidelines, the official government advice for how we should all eat to stay healthy, tell us to limit saturated fat to just a couple of bites a day and make carbohydrates.
Bro, press 1 to actually sue the government. Oh my God. So the grain industry literally just said, we are giving you the most money, put our shit at the highest amount. Bro, I'm actually gonna sue the government, chat. That's fucking crazy. They just said, like, whoever gives us the most money gets to design the pyramid. So the grain industry was like, here, take all this farm money, put us at the bottom, triple us on meat. That's wild.
More than half our daily calories.
I did not know
The first dietary guidelines recommended 50 to 55% of your calories are supposed to come from carbohydrates, mostly grains.
Since the 1960s, the American Heart Association has been saying saturated fat is detrimental to cardiovascular health. You need to get it out of the diet.
I was astonished to find that there simply was no evidence.
What is the evidence? A big, big zero.
Many people associated with the American Heart Association had been advising people to consume margarine that was loaded with trans fat, although lower in saturated fat. As it turns out, people who had more trans fat in their diet had higher rates of heart disease and diabetes.
What we told people is to get off a possibly unhealthy fat called saturated fat and replace it with a fat that we subsequently learned actually does give you heart attacks.
Every 5 years, the government reformulates the dietary guidelines for Americans. And we looked at the panel that pulled it together, 11 people. 6 of the 11 had financial relationships with the food industry. When a kid is pulling his tray down the school lunch line, see federal policies in action. There are burgers topped with cheese, the milk is heavily subsidized, but the vegetables and fruits a little bit harder to find. And this is because the government contracts are going to particularly the meat producers and other producers as well. It has nothing to do with the health of the children. It has all to do with the financial health of the big agriculture.
Oh my God, chat. Press 1 if I never thought I would say this, but maybe capitalism actually did hurt us a little bit. Maybe there might be one tiny flaw in It turns out capitalism actually made everyone fat, chat.
business entities.
Welcome to Evil Food Supply.
Actually made
And
the entire
this
country
is the
fat.
giant scam that is the food pyramid.
This is a wrestling is fake moment. for me.
Watching the footage of the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11, I was struck by how not fat everyone in the crowd was. We looked like a completely different race of people.
I think the food pyramid is great if you're standing on your head because you need to turn that pyramid upside down.
You can't be serious. That would put butter and fat at the top of the damn food pyramid.
I didn't get a South Park episode of this.
Nutrition is stabilizing.
All we had to do was flip the pyramid. All we had to do was just flip it. We just had to flip it, chat. We didn't know. We just had to flip the pyramid and we could have all been healthy. 4B. Yeah, all we had to do was flip it. It's fucking crazy. Just not eat
One of the
those
ways
carbs.
big food spreads its lies and propaganda is through the mainstream media.
Oat milk.
Oat milk.
Oat milk. This is oat milk.
And if you want to easily be able to cut through all the lies and get to the truth, then you gotta check out Ground News. It is the simplest way to get your news without being influenced by big media. On its website and app, you get a...
Hold on, bro. Is this an ad in the video? This feels like an ad, Chad. Is this an ad or is this actually part of the video? It feels like an ad. It is. That's what I thought. Oh my, scammed. Everything. Plus, what if everything's a fucking scammed? This is a scam within this is a scam within the video. The whole world is just a fucking scam.
The story.
I was like,
Are
wait, is this a real
independent news
thing?
outlets pushing it? Gonna love Ground News. Ground.news/evilfood. Ground News for... During the 70s, pretty much every country around the world was in the midst of a giant grain shortage, and it was looking bleak. Soybean was down 7%. Canada's wheat production was at a 10-year low. Rice was down in Asia because of monsoons. But the biggest loser in all of this? The Soviets. Thanks to both bad weather and bad central planning, the Soviet Union was in dire straits. And if the Soviets didn't get their hands on some grain, there was going to be mass starvation and civil unrest. So the Russian government had no choice but to go to the Americans and beg them for help. And because the US just couldn't say no to a massive grain purchase, America agreed. America sold them the grain. And because there was a worldwide shortage of grains during that time, grain prices were very high, which made this an insanely lucrative deal for America. In fact, it would go down as one of the biggest grain trades in history. And this profitable ordeal got a man named Earl Rusty Butz thinking. Earl Butz is a very important man in this story. He was the Secretary of Agriculture at the time under President Richard Nixon. And at the time, Nixon was up for re-election. And when you're in a powerful position like the Secretary of...
What's up, BP? I almost won $500 and being... Why the copium? $500 in a night is fucking awesome, dude. Congratulations.
Agriculture?
So we've been watching a lot of food stuff, and we're learning why people like you and me were also fat. Because the food pyramid was actually a scam, and everything that we were taught in the 90s on that food pyramid was actually like completely incorrect. But it wasn't our fault though. It wasn't our fault, BP. The Zoomers is their fault. They have a new food pyramid, but for us, our generation, we were just actually fucking lied to and tricked by big grain. And I'm not memeing, by the way. This is like a real thing. Oh, you didn't win anything? Oh, well then it's actually real copium then. Okay. I thought when you said you almost won 500, I thought you meant like you won $460 and you're like rounding it up. Okay, yeah, you actually won nothing.
Obviously won.
I'm not fat. You're a freaking skeleton, Selza. There's like certain people in the world who just get to eat unhealthy and like still remain a skeleton. God, sometimes I'm actually mad at my genetics, chat, that I'm not one of those people who can just freaking eat whatever they want and like not gain weight. Like for me to get in good shape, I have to like sacrifice everything unhealthy, chat. Like I just
to stay
have to
in
do
power.
That. That's me.
So Earl Butz needed to do everything in his power to guarantee Nixon won re-election. So Butz concocted a plan.
This is kind of scary, Chad. That this goes to like the presidential level. Bribe the farmers. Oops, sorry. Oh, no, I didn't.
Cases you can get on your side as a politician are the nation's farmers, the people that grow the nation's wheat, soybeans, and corn. He knew that if he could earn the support of the farmers, the presidency would be in the bag. And as the Secretary of Agriculture, Butz was in the perfect position to make them very, very happy. At the time, the grain market in America was actually pretty regulated. There were production limits and very strict policies that had been in place since the Depression. So Earl Butz used his position as the Secretary of Agriculture to deregulate the grain market. No more production limits. Farmers could grow as much as they want. On top of that, to let the farmers make even more money, he subsidized grain sales to Russia. In other words, farmers got free money from the government every time they sold grain to the Soviet Union. On top of that, Butz believed that the bigger the farm, the more productive it was. So he pushed farmers to consolidate. Small, humble family farms? No. Earl Butz's slogan was get big or get out, and adapt or die. Butz didn't want farmers. No, he wanted agribusinessmen. And that's exactly what he got. Now, the agribusinessmen of America were even more powerful than before. They were pumping out more grain than ever before. They were swimming in more cash than ever before. And they were definitely rallying behind Nixon more than ever before. And it worked. Nixon would go on to spend another 2 years in office, and Earl Butz for another 4 years. But then, the world no longer had a grain shortage. While at the same time, America was growing way more corn, soy, and wheat than ever before. The Soviets didn't need that much grain anymore. So now, all those artificial profits the farmers were making were at stake. We can't have that now, can we? So what are we to do with all this extra grain?
Yeah, chat. What are we to do with all this extra grain? That's like the problem with business, right? There's a need for a certain thing, and then you tap into that, and then everyone's making money. It's like how like the drug world works, chat. Like what now? Yeah, this is how drugs work with like cocaine and shit. It's like, oh, this new thing comes, there's like a demand for it, and then just flood the market, and then eventually it's like there's not a lot of demand. It's like, damn, what are we gonna do with all this drugs? What are we gonna do with all this grain, chat? You know what I mean? Corn syrup. Let's see. No, not an ad. Dude, I spent so much money at Sam's Club. Why are you advertising to me? I already have a membership. Let grain be thy medicine. Oh my God, hold on. So if there's all this grain, chat, and there's like no demand for it, are they going to trick us into thinking that we need to consume more grains? Hence, that's how the food pyramid was created. They basically trick Americans into thinking that they need to eat like 5 times as much of this shit as we already do. Oh my God, bro. This is like the biggest conspiracy ever. Like, I really want to sue the government, chat.
For a strong body and a bright future, serve your family Nabisco shredded wheat with improved wheat protein.
That's a real thing? That's a real thing. That's a real, really. Nabisco grain. I've never heard the term grain protein in my entire life, chat. Have you guys ever heard of grain protein? I've heard of like protein coming from vegetables and soybeans. I've never heard of grain protein in my life. Grain protein.
For a strong body.
I mean, this is like from the 60s.
And a bright future. Serve your family Nabisco shredded wheat with improved wheat protein.
As one of these agribusinessmen at the time, with the global famine unfortunately waning off, you needed a way to convince the American public to eat way more grain than ever before. But one pesky little thing was getting in the way: meat. Americans were just eating too much of that disgusting meat that humans have been eating for hundreds of thousands of years. Meat that contains all the nutrients you could ever possibly need.
That's a ribeye.
So how are you going to convince the entire population to give up meat for a diet of white bread, pasta, and cereal? Well, conveniently, heart attacks were a nationwide epidemic at the time. In the 1970s, middle-aged men were starting to develop heart disease at rates never seen before in history. And cancer, which used to be pretty rare, was also becoming more and more common at the time.
So they just blamed it all on meat? It sounds like that's what they're going to do, chat. They're going to take these two epidemics, like these two health epidemics, and basically say, meat's causing it, you freaking degenerates. Stop eating ribeyes and start eating fucking cornflakes. And don't get fat, by the way, which you will.
And instead of blaming...
It has nothing to do with cigarettes. Joe, you know what's crazy, chat? When you really think about like the world, chat, from like the 60s to like the is it not just mind-blowing, chat, like how unregulated and like corrupt shit was? I'm not saying that it's not now, because we'll probably in 30 years learn some shit about how things are going on now, but it is absolutely insane when you look at like, I guess the Forrest Gump era, chat, of like the 60s to like the 90s, and like how fucking crazy everything was.
In these diseases on all the chemicals that got pumped into the air and water at the time, or the recent popularization of processed foods, you had the perfect culprit to blame heart disease and cancer on.
Yeah, you just blame it on meat.
And saturated fat. Saturated fats are the fats in red meat, eggs, and milk. Enter the diet heart hypothesis. The diet heart hypothesis was created by a physiologist named Ancel Keys, another important person in our little food journey. According to Keys, the reason why so many men were suddenly keeling over with heart attacks wasn't because of cigarettes or high-stress jobs or processed foods. It was the cholesterol in all that horrible saturated fat they were eating.
This is a real thing, by the way, chat. Like, this is a real thing that I was taught pretty much from like birth, right? Or from the time that I remember, you know, like learning about stuff, is that like, don't eat red meat, or you can eat red meat, but like red meat will give you fucking heart attacks, and you know what I mean? Like cholesterol. I remember my mom, chat, my mom being like, you can't eat this, it'll give you high cholesterol. Like, you know, you'll have a heart attack at like 12. That's crazy.
Keys claimed cholesterol, saturated fats, and meat was literally transforming into a sticky cream of wheat-like plaque in the arteries of the heart. And apparently, the more of this plaque someone had in their arteries, the higher their risk of heart attack.
I still believe this shit.
But that was all a lie.
Is this not true?
Even though other studies came out showing that saturated fat isn't the biggest cause of arterial plaque, and that plaque is mostly made of calcium, the people still went wild for the diet heart hypothesis.
Yeah, I still believe
Seriously, everyone was falling for it. Now, everyone thought that animal fats were just as bad as smoking cigarettes, and the agribusinessmen loved it. Big government and big agriculture has successfully duped the public.
Like, chat, that's something that I believed until like 5 minutes ago. That the saturated fat causes like the plaque buildup in your artery. That's something I actually believed until, chat, literally 5 minutes ago. Like, man, this lie was crazy effective. Holy shit. Even the whole like plaque buildup is not primarily caused by saturated fat. Like, I still believe that, like, to this day.
Like, into thinking that meat...
Cat, we need to go back to school. I told you, apparently I do. Everything I was taught in school is just a lie.
Humans have been eating for hundreds of thousands of years was now all of a sudden gonna kill you. But seed oils and grain-based processed foods? Nope, that's A-okay. Now, grain manufacturers could peddle their dirt-cheap grain-based products as miracle foods that could save lives.
Yeah, that's also another thing, chat. Grain-based food is cheap as shit. It's worth every treasure. It's why, chat, like, when you think about it, grain-based food is so cheap. It's why, chat, like, how much does a pound of rice cost? Or a pound of flour? Compare that to, I don't know, a pound of, like, any product that comes from a cow. Any product that comes from a pig. You know what I mean? Because you don't have to raise rice, or it doesn't cost, like, I mean, technically it has to grow, but, like, you know what I mean? It costs a lot more money to keep a fucking cow alive and then butcher it than it does to grow, you know, rice. So, how many genders does Snowy's got, chat? Dude, I feel so...
For as rich as you are,
I don't know, I feel so violated watching this video.
A healthy life is a happy one. Make Mazola part of your healthy diet. Mazola is 100% pure corn oil, low in saturated fats with no cholesterol.
See?
While reality couldn't be further from the truth.
What is the effect of having a high vegetable oil diet? If you have a lot of corn oil and soybean oil, what happens? Well, in nearly a dozen of these studies, they found a number of worrisome things, including that in all the experimental groups, they died at higher rates of cancer.
The stage was set. You tricked the entire country into believing that saturated fat was the devil, and that grains will not only cure you of all diseases, but give you a long, healthy life. Now, you just need to make your new diet official.
Food pyramid time. Oh, corn oil was bad. So the thing is, chat, my mom exclusively used canola oil, chat. Like, she exclusively used that when growing up, chat. That's like the only oil she ever used. She never used shortening or like extra virgin olive oil. I always grew up thinking like that's for like rich white people or some shit. I was like, extra virgin olive oil, that's the rich white people shit, right? Like no one uses that. Like we exclusively used what's it called? We exclusively used canola oil. And my mom used to fry a lot of stuff too. Fish, chicken, mainly just fish and chicken. I used avocado oil and extra virgin olive oil. Those are both super healthy.
Hey, look at mama, I watch what I eat. Give me five food. Give me green group for energy. Fruits and veggies for vitamins, please. Meat group for strong bodies. Milk group for bones and teeth. Eat the others only sparingly. Give me five food. Give me five.
In 1980, you released an official book of nutrition guidelines called The Dietary Goals of the United States. These guidelines stated that Americans should substitute starches for fat, choose lean meats over fatty cuts, limit intake of butter and other added fats, and limit the use of eggs and organ meat.
God.
Wow, how convenient.
Don't
eat fatty cuts of meat like ribeye, one of the most nutrient-dense foods in the world. Don't eat organs like beef liver that are even more dense in micronutrients. No, feed yourself and your children basically the equivalent of animal feed. And because of these new food rules, school cafeterias would have to serve more grains at lunchtime, including things like pizza and brownies to meet. Serve more grains at lunchtime, including things like.
Press 1 if you ate this pizza as a kid. I haven't been in school chat in a long time, but I feel like real talk, everyone, the little square pizza with the, I feel like literally everyone in this chat ate this pizza. Everybody, little square pizza, everyone had this. I think we used to have it Fridays, because for a while we had our menu set on like a 5-day rotation, and it would only change like sometimes, but like pizza was always on the menu every single week. Like pizza never changed.
Pizza and brownies to meet the grain requirement. And hospitals would have to give their patients 6 to 11 servings of grain per day, you know, to make them healthy and strong. Although not in the shape of a pyramid yet, this would be the foundation of the food pyramid we all know.
Really? A circle pizza?
And yes, when you first released these new guidelines, people definitely complained. Health professionals said that the guidelines were pure pseudoscience. And the meat industry did everything they could to get meat back into the picture. When you released these guidelines in pyramid form, the meat industry forced you to change their section from red to purple because they were afraid that the color red would scare people away from eating meat. And you gave them what they wanted to a degree. But you never shifted from grains and carbs being the bedrock of the American diet to this day. Plus, you couldn't take out grains even if you wanted to, because refined grain products like white flour, breakfast cereal, corn oil, and high fructose corn syrup are America's most lucrative foods. Take away Coca-Cola's precious corn syrup or Nabisco's white flour, and these companies will lobby you into the ground until you turn the tables back in their favor. You'll never be able to remove grains from the pyramid. But Americans shifting to grains led to one bad after effect.
Press 1 chat if everyone's about to get fat. Yeah, this is the part of the video where literally everyone in the 80s and 90s like gains 25 pounds. And they're all like, why are we so fat? For me. Look at this. They're all eating freaking cereal. I'm not saying you can't eat cereal, chat, but like last year when I lost a ton of weight, I basically was eating almost no carbs, chat. I was eating very, very little carbs. Like, removing carbs from your diet is probably one of the most difficult things you can do, chat, because carbs are in everything. But if you do, and you do it for an extended period of time, chat, like 6 weeks, you'll basically get into the best shape of your life. Like, it doesn't even matter what else you eat. Like, if you don't have carbs, like, you'll get into insane shape. Even if you don't exercise. I was exercising too. It's not my fault. Quinoa instead of rice. The problem is all the substitutes don't taste good. Carbs are cheap and they taste good.
Come to fruition, I'm gonna have to feed it quality nutrition. We love the cookies, but they're not sufficient. We need veggies to make our bodies efficient. Roll my chicken in a wrap, don't jam it in a nugget. Get hyped for healthy snacks, fresh food, we love it. Pretty good.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I like Michelle Obama, but this is whack as shit. This is like the Pokemon go to the polls type. Like, it's just, is that just part of being the first lady, chat? You just have to tell like cringe jokes, or I feel like maybe that's just part of being the first lady. You know, like you just have to like have cringe. You know what I mean? Just cringe shit. People hated Michelle. I mean, I love Michelle Obama. Every black person in the world, chat, loves Michelle Obama. But this is like fucking cringe. Like really cringe. Like, oh my god!
Pretty good.
What? And then it got actually worse at the end. Holla! Okay, it somehow got worse. It looks like she's even doing the yikers. Holla! I thought it was already bad enough, and she was like, nope. I haven't even reached cringe peak yet.
After years of successful brain pushing, you started to notice that your bulletproof diet was making Americans, well, fat.
So why is it that Americans keep getting fatter in spite of government efforts ranging from calorie posting to new school lunch programs?
Being overweight and obese is the second leading cause of preventable death in the US.
I finally found out why.
The food pyramid was losing its edge. It needed a rebranding. So in 2011, you switched gears.
Overweight, obesity rates are at dangerously high levels. The Obama administration has worked to support Americans who want to improve their health and nutrition. My plate is a departure in the food pyramid we're used to seeing. It's an easy-to-understand visual, which shows how to build a healthy meal based on the 2010 dietary guidelines for all of Americans.
You changed the food pyramid into a simple plate format and filled half of it with low-calorie fruits and vegetables while still keeping refined grains and seed oils as part of the recommended diet.
This is way healthier.
Because if Americans ate more fruits and vegetables, they'll naturally consume less calories and will obviously become thin and cured from diseases, right? And sure, people might still be malnourished and slightly hungry all the time, but come on. You gotta solve this obesity epidemic before it really gets out of control. And this epidemic was all your fault in the first place. But the American public will never find out, especially when their brains are too weak from lack of nutrients. The new My Plate thing is slightly better than the food pyramid. It recommends less grain, but still recommends refined grain products like burger buns and pizza. And even to this day, grain manufacturers like General Mills are still doing whatever they can to sneak their obesity-inducing cereals into the dietary guidelines.
We found that 95% of that committee had a tie with the food or pharmaceutical industry. And over half of those members had more than 30 such ties. One member had 152 ties. And the most common ties were with General Mills and Kellogg's. Again, you see those names again.
So bro, I wish I could go back in time, chat, and just buy Kellogg's and General Mills stocks. I knew it was gonna be those two companies, chat. Those are like two of the biggest grain company. Yeah, those. If you think big grain, it's General Mills and Kellogg's. Like, I want to say they own 90% of, maybe you could say Kraft Foods as well, but they own like 90% of the cereal like industry. If you guys ever go, chat, to the breakfast aisle of your local grocery store, 90% of the cereals is just two companies, chat. It's either General Mills or or Kellogg's. Like, they own the entire fucking aisle. Seriously, it's just two companies.
Big food conglomerates are stacking the deck inside the government, and they're paying for grants to study these unhealthy foods that then they say are healthy, and then they get recommended, and that's how these people make money.
So eat more meat. Don't be afraid of natural fats. Definitely be afraid of seed oils and processed foods. In fact, a good rule of thumb is to just eat the opposite of whatever big government and big food tells you to. And you want to know what they want you to eat next? Lab-grown meat. Ah, yes. The U.S. Department of Agriculture just approved lab-grown chicken to go on sale in the U.S., and it's coming to a restaurant near you. To grow lab-grown meat, they use immortalized cells, which is a fancy word for cancer cells and pre-cancer cells.
What?
It's coming to a restaurant near you. To grow lab-grown meat, they use immortalized cells, which is a fancy word for cancer cells and pre-cancer cells.
Ew! They want us to literally eat cancer?
Put those cells into a petri dish and slowly grow it from there. And yes, it's as disgusting and potentially dangerous as it sounds. You can bet that we're going to be making a video on it soon, so make sure you click that subscribe button. But it's gonna take a minute. That's what—
Chat, press 1 if this is the next, like, this is the next wave of this fucking food conspiracy shit, chat. And, like, I guarantee you, well, probably in my lifetime, but, like, the kid that's being born right now, chat, that's what they're going to be told. Like, oh, it's super healthy. You have to eat it. It's good for you. It's basically meat, but it doesn't have all that fat of meat. It's, like, way healthier for me. And then cancer is going to, like, skyrocket to, like, 80%. And then there you go. R.I.P. Leia. Beyond Meat. Rad D. I have to admit, chat, this was a who posted this? Dark Emperor? This was a super interesting video. Like, this video is 4 months old. This video should have way more views. Just because, like, anyone who is, like, 40, basically anyone who's, like, 45 or maybe 46, chat, to, like, 28, you lived through this. Like, you 100, any millennial, there we go, I'll just say that. Any millennial, you 100% lived through this. If you're a millennial. Like, this is the giant lie that basically defined our childhoods. What's up, Rye? How are you doing tonight? I just learned that everything about nutrition that I ever learned in school was actually a lie. Thank you very much, Raleigh guys, coming through with the Twitch resubscription. 50 months in a row of grown-ass Rileyness over 4 straight years. I appreciate that support, Rye. Back from triple raid duty. What's up? Why did I load into cancer steaks? Oh, they were talking about how this like lab manufactured meat is created. I heard about it. Like, I heard about this last year, right? But I didn't know how it was actually, like, made. I didn't know that it was made using, like, cancer cells. Honestly, chat, like, all of this, what's the word I'm looking for, chat? Engineered, like, biologically engineered food, chat, whether it be, like, the sugar-free stuff, chat, like the sugar-free stuff, like this artificial meat, like, it's all, like, all this shit is really created in a lab. So it's all super, 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 super unnatural because none of it actually occurs in the wild, right? It's not like a cow being born or, you know, a spinach just growing out of the ground. You know what I mean? Like, a watermelon is a natural process, chat. That's why it's healthy. A watermelon just grows. You can plant a watermelon seed and then it just grows and then you can eat it. You know what I mean? But, like, this type of stuff, that shit is not natural. It doesn't happen, like, naturally in the wild. GMO, genetically modified organism, 3D printed meat product, hell no. Wow. Well, you know, I think I learned one thing from watching this video, chat. Like, I can go downstairs and eat some meat. Meat is good for you, chat. But yeah, I gotta admit, I actually do feel a certain type of way watching that. Like, that really did feel, chat, like a a wrestling is fake moment. For me anyways. Wait, CM Punk is back? Wait, was I the one who predicted this? Who said CM Punk is gonna headline WrestleMania next year? If he's back, it wouldn't make sense. Well, hold on, let me think. Actually, no. This would make sense. This would be like the perfect time. Thank you very much, Aquamades05 coming through with Twitch resubscription. 28 months in a row of grown-ass mightiness. That is 2 1/3 of another year. I appreciate that support. Thoughts on Josh Giddey? So, I mean, I think I've heard more. I think I've heard Josh Giddey mentioned more times BP in the last 4 days than I ever have. And like, I actually haven't looked at how old is he? I mean, well, Josh Giddey age. Wow. Look, I'll just say this. This is obviously something I would not do. In fact, I told you guys specifically of an incident with the girl Jasmine when I worked at Lowe's Foods. I think I was 20, chat, and she was 16. And I specifically didn't date her, chat. When she asked me, like, Jasmine wanted to date me. She asked me out, and I said no specifically because she was 16. And if she would have been 18, I'd have been like, let's go. You know what I mean? What? This is not new. I told you guys about this. How about them Jets? I mean, I don't really know what to say about the Jets. They perpetually suck. But like, as from what I understand, he's supposed to be in a relationship. We'll just say a relationship with a 16-year-old girl. I just don't understand why, as an NBA player, you have your choice of basically any girl that you could possibly want. You're 21 years old. You're 6'8". You're a millionaire. I mean, you don't play in a glamorous market because you play in Oklahoma. But like, you know, it's not like you gotta live there. TikTok girls. And yeah, apparently he's piping down, you know, I didn't want to be crass, but apparently he's piping down some 16-year-old girl, chat, which I didn't know he was this young, but it's better than him being like 25. It's still literally like illegal, chat. You know, statutory rape. Cap, no. I don't. That's what I told Jasmine. I told her no. You know what I mean? What's it called? Just because she was 16. If she would have been older, but at 17 wouldn't have worked either, Chad. She would have had to be 18. If she was 18, it would have been, you know, all hands on deck. But unfortunately, you know, 16 wasn't going to work. A watermelon is healthy as much as it is natural, but you can still get fat off of it. Well, yeah, everything in moderation. Like, you can't just eat watermelon, you know, like, you can't just have a watermelon diet. But what I'm saying is, like, just about everything, chat, that is natural on the earth, like everything that exists, like what the paleo diet, chat, everything that existed, you know, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, whenever the hell the caveman ruled it, well, obviously that's longer than that. But everything that existed, chat, when cavemen were roaming the earth, is essentially supposed to be like healthy in a certain capacity. Like, don't exclusively eat it. But, you know, did cereal exist when the cavemen ruled the earth? No, it didn't. You know, the same thing with pizza. But did a ribeye steak exist? Yes, it did. Did a watermelon exist? Did a orange exist? Did a banana? Like, those things all existed. Spinach, you know, cauliflower. But unfortunately, Captain Crunch did not. So that's like what that diet is supposed to be. This all seemed to happen in California, where the age of consent is 18. That's what. So that's what I always mentally, BP. That's what I always assume, like, the age of consent was. Now, I don't know if he's banging this chick in like Australia, but I saw a TikTok video of her posted on Twitter, and it seemed like she's American. So, you know what I mean? Like, chances are he just, I don't even know how you read, like, yeah, she probably hit him.